Hi, welcome to Camp Happy Mail. I'm so glad that you're here with me today. Now, if you were here 2 weeks ago, you might have seen that very long video that I did with Halloween cards. Not all of my friends and family celebrate Halloween, so besides Halloween cards each year, I also make fall cards. And I make more fall cards than Halloween cards. So as you might have guessed, today we're going to make some fall cards, and we're going to use this lovely set by Echo Park that's simply called Fall. So I hope you'll join me. Hi, welcome back to Camp Happy Mail. So we are now back in the Georgia studio, and I am going to go ahead and make some of these fall cards. Now I did kit 25 cards total, and I didn't use this whole paper pad. I knew I wasn't going to bust this whole thing. It was 48 double-sided sheets, plus stickers, plus the cut-aparts. It's a lot. But I did end up with 25 cards, and you will see all 25 cards. Some of those I have already pre-made, but I am going to go through and we're going to make at least 10 or 12 of them together. And then I'll show you the other ones that I made. Now of this set, what's left of this is this. So I still have this many of the double-sided sheets. I didn't count to see how many's here, but there's a good bit left there. And then I have all of these pieces. There are still cut-aparts in here. There's strips. There's just all of the pieces that are left over. And then I still have this. I didn't use very many stickers this time around, but we have them to use with all of this, which is great. I decided to take this way back, old school, very basic, not using any dies. Everything that I cut for these was cut using my paper trimmer. So there's not circles in this. There's not funny shapes. There's not fancy stitching. There's not fancy edges. Because I did everything with my paper trimmer. I decided to go old school on this and make this a very basic beginner's video. Just to show you that you can take very minimal supplies and you can still create some really nice cards. So I took a basic 6x6 paper pad. Lots of companies make these. And really just to show that you don't need a lot of supplies to make nice cards. 6x6 paper pad, the sheet of stickers, and then you saw the 2 sheets of the cut-aparts. That was the 12x12s. So that's primarily it. Now I did add some solid color cardstock. Within this set, there are a couple of sheets that are double-sided of the solid paper, but I added to this as well in the same colors. And then I also added some metallic paper that was orange, and in a couple places I added some glitter paper. This is who makes this? This was Memory Box glitter paper. It's a beautiful thing because the glitter doesn't rub off. So you can easily send this to somebody and it's not going to make a mess for them. And it's a beautiful thing. So I did add some of that just to jazz some of them up a little bit. And besides those items, I also am using foam squares from scrapbook.com. If you don't have foam squares, not a big deal. Just glue things flat. It doesn't make a difference. The dimension on these is not real thick. I love them for that reason. They give just a little bit of height to them, but not a whole lot. It's not going to cost you extra postage. And then the last thing that I added was on some of them, I used some Nuvo drops in the colors that is on the cards, on the paper. You don't have to do the Nuvo drops. It's just something that I decided to add to a couple of them, just a couple little dots up here, one little dot down here, nothing crazy. And if you don't have them, not a big deal. You don't have to do that part, and you don't have to use the foam squares. The other thing I'm using is the Bourree Arts craft glue. You can use whatever glue you want, or you can use tape runner. Just use what you have. So basically, I just wanted to show you that we can make some nice cards with very minimal supplies. You don't have to use the glitter papers or the metallic papers. I only use them because I had them. But if you don't have them, not a big deal. I do have some cards that don't use those items. So let's go ahead and get started with this. And just keep in mind that all of the pieces were cut out on my trimmer. You don't need a fancy die cut machine. You don't need the fancy dies. And one thing I did do when I kitted these is I laid them out, all the pieces that I cut. I'll move these ones over here. So for each one, this is my process for creating a card kit. The card kits, as I mentioned before, are nice because you can make some of these and take them on the go with you. Take some tape runner with you. Then when you're sitting, on a plane, or you're on a long car trip, or you're, at a sporting event, and if you're not really interested, you can pull one of these out and you can put together cards anywhere. So basically what I do is I take a plastic envelope for holding a card. I put an envelope, the plastic I guess that is an envelope. And I put a regular envelope into it. And then I take my card base. 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna use a white card base. Every now and then I'll use a colored one, but 9 times out of 10, this is it. So I put the card base in there. Before I put that in, I do this. So I lay this out, and then sometimes I'll use a card sketch for figuring out what I wanna do. A lot of these, I didn't use any sketches. I just winged my way through them. And I started out with my focal point, knowing that I want that on the card. Now, what did I want that to look like? So because this is so big, I decided to just do some basic matting. So I pulled colors that were similar to what was on the card, and I worked my way backwards, honestly, with this. So this is my focal point. I knew I wanted to bring out some of the yellow, so I used a yellow mat for that. And because it's still small on the background piece, I knew I had space. So then I added some orange, and the orange brings out the orange in the flowers. And that's still a little small. I didn't want that big of a red border, and then I also lost my orange border in here. So I thought, well, I can mat it in this piece that has words on it. The words are a little overwhelming on this. It's a little busy for my taste. But if I do this, it's not so bad. And then I used the red background on that. So that essentially is the card. So then I would take this and I would put this inside the envelope, and I can take that with me on the go. And all I have to do is pull out my tape runner, tape the layers down. There's a finished card, just as easy as that. So let's go ahead and put this one together. And I am gonna work from the back forward on this one, only because I have a feeling, this piece here, even though I cut this one, what I thought was 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, I'm apparently short a little bit. So I'm gonna glue this piece down first, and then I'm gonna trim this, and nobody will know that I trimmed it. Now you could do this way too. If you wanted the orange instead of the red, because it's double-sided, you could do it this way. And I might actually do that because I kind of like the orange on this. Now see, okay, so the red on here pulls out the red here and the red here. But the orange pulls out the lighter orange that's on these, as well as the lighter orange that's in here. I think we're gonna do the orange. So we'll start by gluing down the red side. And we're just gonna line this up in a corner. And I always line up along the back edge. That way I have the opportunity that I could trim the front edge. So now I'm gonna go ahead and trim this off. And now we're gonna take our next layer down, which is the one with the words on it. Now, if you didn't want the words, you could also do this too, but because I used the orange, this blends in way too much. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the glue on that side. And then we're just gonna center this the best we can. I eyeball everything, I don't really measure them. Okay, and then the next piece is this one. We're just gonna center this down in the middle. Okay, and then this piece, I think I'm gonna pop this piece up with some foam squares. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mat this piece first onto here. Now this piece is one of the cut parts from the 12 by 12 sheet, and they're the perfect size to make a nice focal point on an A2 size card. The the cut aparts on the 12 by 12s, I believe, were probably intended for scrapbook pages because the 12 by 12 paper packs are made for scrapbooks. But I like to use them on cards because they make a really nice size focal point. Okay, and then we're going to turn this over. And again, these are just foam squares from scrapbook.com. They don't have a lot of dimension to them, as you can see. And I like them because they give it just enough lift, but not enough that it's going to cause me extra postage. And we'll take the backs off of these. And we'll center this one down on here. And this one is already so busy that I don't think I'm going to add any of the Nuvo drops to this one. So along with this card of the same design, I also made this one. So two cards that are designed the same way, but they look different. Not as many matting layers on this one, but there is some foil on this one, or the metallic paper, but still very, very similar cards and very nice and very simple. So let's do the next one. So the other thing I wanted to mention that I do when I do the card kits, after I get it all laid out, after I get the pieces all cut and kind of laid out on my card base before I put them into the little envelopes to store them, I lay everything out how I want it to look. And then I just take a basic picture of it. And then I'll print that picture and put it inside of the envelope with the card kit so that whenever I go to build this, I know what I had in mind. I didn't used to do this, and then I found myself completely baffled because I would have all these pieces and not remember what I wanted that card to look like. You don't have to print them in color. This was actually an accident. I do print them out in black and white just to save color ink. But yeah, so that's basically how I do my kit. So the kit would include everything that's here. And then I keep all of them in a box. And whenever I feel like taking some with me, if I know I'm going to have some time, then I can just grab a handful of them with my tape runner and go. So let's go ahead and build this one. But these are nice too. So because I have all of these extra pieces left over, I could easily come back in, pull one of these again and say, yeah, I really like that one. I want to make that one again. And I can pull either the same papers or different papers and different embellishments and things and make the same design again without having to put the brain power into what should I make this look like. So that's another benefit. So if you save your pictures that you take of the ones of your card kits, then you can easily reuse them. Okay, and these pieces, I did leave them longer instead of cutting them exact. And I will often do that just to make it easier on myself. Yeah, I'll have to trim these off. So if you are traveling with one of these and it's not cut exact, then it's helpful to have a pair of scissors with you so you can cut the edges off. But to me, it's easier to glue things down whenever they're a little bit larger and I can have that overhang. I don't have to worry about getting it lined up exactly end to end. That's the main reason why I do it that way. But if you're comfortable with gluing things end to end, then obviously, you know, you're more than welcome to not leave the overhang like that. And then we'll do this one next just to be able to center them. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and trim these. Okay, and then like the last one, with this one, I'm going to go ahead and pop this up. And this is a little bit of specialty paper. I believe this came from either Staples or Office Depot. It has a little bit of a shine to it. It's not glaring or anything like that. It's just very subtle. And just like that. And then we'll go ahead and put some of the foam squares on the back of this one. And then we'll center this one on the card. And just for grins, let's go ahead and put some dots on this one. So I got my little starter page here. So when you're using Nuvo drops, it's always good to just squeeze a little bit out just to get it flowing when you first start out. And we'll just put one up here. And then we'll do two down here in the corner just to balance it out. I don't do a lot as far as the nuvo drops go. I mean, these things are probably gonna last me for the rest of my life because I don't put them all over the place. I tend to make a mess when I do that. So, okay, so this card, I made this one, same design, different papers, different matting, but still two very nice cards. And this was also a cut apart, just like this one was. And you see, these are all just very, very basic cards. It doesn't really take a lot to make some super cute cards. So this is card number 3, and that's our little guide for what we're gonna do. So, okay, so I'm gonna start with the back piece, which is this one. And we'll glue this piece down. So the idea of this was just to show you that you can create easy cards with very little supplies. So then we'll center this piece down. Okay, and then this piece is next because it's behind that one. The nice thing about using a 6x6 paper pad like this is that all of the papers in it are going to coordinate. Everything is going to match. And that makes it really easy because you can mix and match everything that's in it to make your cards. And it kind of takes the guesswork out of it. So Echo Park makes a lot of really cute sets, and they often have sales on their things. They do warehouse sales, or what they call a warehouse sale. Well, they'll put a ton of their paper pads and their sets and things on sale. And that's a great time to pick up Echo Park. I do that every now and then, and I stock up on different ones. And this is going to need to be pressed down further because it's glitter paper. It takes a little bit more effort to get the glue to stick to it. And I may have to go back and use tape runner on this. Okay, that seems to work. Okay, so then we'll go ahead and pop this one up as well. And then we'll center this piece down. Okay, and then from this sample, I also made this one. This one has a metallic mat on it, and then the nuvo drops in the top corners. I didn't put them on here because there's already a lot of little dots on this. And then I made this one in green. And now I did add the green cardstock to the back of this one. I added the yellow cardstock on the back of this one, and then the green metallic or the glitter paper matte. And I didn't put any nuvo drops on this one. So that's our 3 cards from this one. The next one, very similar to the last one, with the exception that the mats are a little bit bigger. Centerpiece is still a rectangle. This piece is skinnier than on the other ones, but still basically the same design, just with a couple of modifications to it. So we'll start by gluing the back piece down first. And again, we're going to line this up with the spine of the card, just in case we need to trim it off. Then we have that opportunity on the other side, like right here. And then we'll put down this mat. I just love this with the little red tractors. And then this piece. Now we could have gone blue on this if we wanted to, but there wasn't anything else that was blue in this. So I decided to go with the orange. And then that helps to bring out the orange of the pumpkins and the word pumpkin and then the orange on here. So it's nice that these are double-sided because then you get to make all the choices of which side to use. And sometimes that's a hard decision. Okay, and I just had to trim off that little edge over there. All right, and this one, I am gonna pop this one up too. I think I'm probably gonna do that on a lot of them. So we'll go ahead and glue this piece down. And I just love this. Meet me at the pumpkin patch. I've never been to a pumpkin patch. I always thought it would be fun, but I've never been. I might have to change that. And then we will center this one. Okay, and then from this one, I also made this one and this one. Same basic idea. This one has a metallic mat on it with some nuvo drops on it. This one doesn't have any metallics on it, does have a couple little nuvo drops on it, but the same basic design, 3 different cards. And let's move on to the next one. So you see how quickly these are coming together. It probably took me longer to plan out the cards and cut the pieces than it is to put all of these together. Well, I know it took me longer because I spent almost 2 days cutting pieces. So, okay. So this one's a little more complex. There are more pieces to this one, definitely. So this is the back piece. And we're just going to kind of center this between the top and the bottom. And then the leaves. Okay, let's do this piece here first. Okay, I'm not going to glue this down yet because I want to make sure that I get it centered with where this piece is going to go. I apologize if you hear barking dogs and crying children. We got some new neighbors. They are not the quietest people in the apartment building. So if you hear barking dogs and crying kids or screaming kids, that's what's going on. It's not coming from my apartment. Do we want to pop this one up? I guess we could. And we'll just center this one down here underneath that top piece. And just for grins, let's do some orange. Yeah, let's do the gold sparkles again. So let's just do one up here. How about 2 in here? There is no rhyme or reason to where I'm putting these. Just something to jazz it up a little. So this one, I also made this one. Kind of the same idea. This one has an extra big matted piece on it with a metallic paper. And I used the same background paper on all 3 of these pieces. And then just a couple little nuvo drops in there. But same basic design, but they look a little bit different. And they both are pretty nice cards in my opinion. Okay, this one is kind of fun. So this one has lots of pieces to it to put together, and they've got to be put together in a certain order. So let's just start at the back. And again, all of these are just basic pieces with mats behind them. Very, very simple, but you can see there's so many different ways that you can do this. So many different designs you could do. If you have card sketches like the Operation Right Home ones or the Queen and Company ones, or there's a bunch of other companies that make them too. Jess Crafts has a bunch of sketches, and hers are actually paper busting sketches, which is kind of cool. So I'm gonna glue all these down first and then we'll do the placement of them. But anyways, you can use sketches to come up with the card ideas if you don't want to come up with them on your own. I did come up with most of these on my own. There is 1 or 2 in here that I used the Jess Crafts one, and I'll try to figure out which ones those are. But the Jess Crafts sketches are mainly for busting a paper pad. And when I say busting a paper pad, that means taking a paper pad and using the entire thing and not having any scraps left over, which is kind of an ideal situation because, you know, who likes to add scraps back to their pile? So I knew I wasn't going to bust this paper pad unless I used one of her templates, but I didn't want all of my cards to, I didn't want to have a whole bunch of different cards. I only wanted 1 to maybe 3 at the most of a single card design. But her sketches are really awesome because you can take a 6x6 sheet of paper. Let me see if I have one real quick. Okay, so like this is an Operation Right Home sketch, and they give you all the measurements for everything. And there's a ton of these. And you can find these all over Pinterest. Thought I had the Jess Crafts ones in here. Okay, these are some sketches by Jess Crafts. And this card actually is one of hers to an extent. So basically she tells you, you take a 6x6 piece of paper and you cut it in a certain way. And this one you cut 6 2x3s. And then if you want to mat those pieces, she tells you what size to make them mats. So that's what I did for these ones here, these 3 pieces. I cut up 3 different sheets of 6x6 paper, and I have other cards that I'll show you that I made, but I added to them then because I had some cut aparts. So if from the 6 pieces that you cut here, and then if you cut mats for them, then you can make several different cards. This one makes 2 A2 size cards. It says right up here makes 2. And then here's another layout. So she gives you the dimensions to cut them. The layout for them tells you what the mats are for them. And then sometimes she'll give you 2 different layouts that you can do to make the cards. And then this is another one. You take a 6x6 sheet of paper, you cut it to specific dimensions, and it makes 2 cards that look like this. And it's really nice because you can use these and go through a 6x6 paper pad, and then you'll have a couple of each card of each design, and then you blow away that entire paper pad. So that's really kind of cool. I love that she does this and that she offers these up. I'll put a link to her YouTube channel, and that way you can go and check them out. And she does videos on these all the time. She has an Etsy store that you can buy like the whole pack of the templates, which is super cool. And she does them in other sizes too, besides just 6x6. So that's kind of what this one started as. This was done as a Jess Crafts one. And okay, I need to glue this one down. And then I modified it because I had cut aparts and I wanted a main focal point on this. And that's the nice thing about sketches too, is the idea is already there for you. And then if you want to modify it, you can. If you don't want to modify it, that's okay too. And this piece of yellow paper appears to be cut crooked, but we're going to leave it, I think. And again, this is the glitter paper, so I need to give it some pressure so that the glue adheres to it. Okay, and I am going to try to fix this, I think. Okay, and that's a little close, but it'll be okay. All right, so then we're going to go ahead and lay these out. Then we'll just lay these out according to the plan. And then the last one, we'll go ahead and pop that one up. And then of this design, I also made this one. And you can see the papers were cut from the same pattern paper. And then I also did this one with just 2 instead of 3. 2 more to go. We're almost done. Okay, so I want to point out on this one, on these 6x6 paper pads by Echo Park, there is a hole at the top of the paper pad right here, and that's so that retailers can hang this up in their shops. So that little strip is at the top of all of the papers as well. So whenever you cut your paper, when you pull the paper out of these pads, you pull them out and they have this hole at the top of each of the papers. So you measure backwards to do your 6x6. And then you end up with this little strip. Well, the little strip is perfectly usable. So because they have the little hole at the top, you either have to figure out a creative way to cover that, or you can simply put them back behind. Like you're gonna see that this one is gonna go behind this piece, so you're not gonna see that hole. But these ones are also those strips. And I covered them with stickers, embellishments. You would never know that they were there. So the first part of this is we're gonna go ahead and glue this strip down. Now the strip is wider than my card, so I don't have to put glue the whole way to the edges on this. So it is possible that you could truly use the entire paper pad and not have anything left from it. And we're just gonna eyeball where the center is here. But you could have absolutely nothing left from it because you even used those extra little strips. And then we're gonna take and glue. Now I did round the corners on this. There are a bunch of companies that make corner rounders, and I probably shouldn't have done that because if you don't have a corner rounder, then your edges are gonna be just corners instead of round like this. So this was the one exception to where I did use a different tool as far as cutting things out. But I could have left those as straight corners. It wouldn't have really changed much as far as the design goes. And then these pieces that have the stickers on them. And by using these, then you don't have to cut that little strip off of like the regular 6x6 paper. So you can use that full 6x6 sheet for something else, for other pieces. And this one was up here. Oops, and I need to move this down because the top is going to hang off. And then the leaves go on the bottom. So that's the nice thing about those little strips too, is that you don't have to take away from your 6x6 pad to have a little strip of the pattern paper. Put that one down here. And then let me trim off these edges. And this was the only one of this design that I made. And our last one. I really wanted to use some of the stickers a little more. I forgot I had the stickers until I got to the end of designing some of these. But then when I did find them, I was like, well, let's do something with those. I don't know how this is going to work because these do have white edges on them. I don't feel like fussy cutting these. I could fussy cut them to get them closer, but I just really don't feel like doing that. So we're just going to use them with the white outlines, and we'll see how it looks. But I just thought that the scarecrow and the pumpkins and the little basket of apples there was super cute. And I thought they might make a nice little collage picture on here. And actually I need to move this over far enough for that other strip to go. So I think right there is good. I'm going to trim this a little bit. Okay. And then we'll put this strip of the leaves down on the side there. And this one is totally an experiment. If this works out with the stickers and it looks okay, then I may go ahead and use some of the other stickers on things. I'm not real fond of the big white outline on them, but unless you want to take the time to fussy cut them, that's kind of what you've got. Okay, and then let's do our happy fall, or our hello fall rather. So let's put our little stickers up at the top of this. Just put them in the corner. Yeah, they're kind of distracting, aren't they? Well, can't take it up now, so it is what it is. Okay, so then we'll go ahead and pop this up. Okay, and then for these, this is going to be the tricky part, because I want him down below, so he would be about right there, and then the bucket of apples. So maybe I would do I don't know. Okay, we know he's got to be down below that. So maybe I put him down first. Okay, so the die cut around this one was not very well done. And I lifted up part of the sticker part of this, so I need to do a little bit of repair work on this. So we'll just press those pieces back down so nobody knows. So he needs to be down low enough to sit in the bucket. So if we put him right there, and then the bucket will go here in front of the pumpkins. So let's pull the pumpkins off. Again, this one not die cut completely well. So if we put those right there, put the bucket there, so it looks like he's sticking out of the bucket, kind of. Okay. I guess that'll work. So there are not any more of this one, but I do have a couple other cards that I designed that I didn't make duplicates of them to do here with you today, but I'll share those with you now. So there was this one, just a basic strip, matted on a bigger strip, and then a matted focal point. And then this one, the basic strip down the side with 2 focal points on it. And then this one has 3 stripes with metallic stripes and then the focal point. And the last one, I used just rectangle scraps that I had from cutting other pieces with a focal point matted on the metallic paper. So from the 1 pack of paper that had 48 sheets in it, so far I have made 25 fall cards from this. And again, I still have a ton of pieces left over, as well as several sheets of the paper still left, and also a bunch of stickers. So if you make a lot of fall cards, I highly recommend that you pick up a 48 pack. Even if you pick up the smaller pack, which is like 24 sheets, you're still going to be able to make 20 plus cards out of that. So this is what we have, and if you want to stick around, there will be a slideshow at the end showing each one of the cards again. If you don't want to stick around, that's cool too. But this is what I've got for you today. So I hope you go off and make some fall cards of your own, and I'll look for you in the next video. Have a great day.